This is hilarious.
What's the deal? I know how hard you've been working and all the the starts and the stops and the changes, but it looks like we're good. So what's the deal from you right now?
Yeah, no, everything's good. It's been a good week, and we're right there. Get in there tomorrow, make sure everybody's good and healthy, and put this behind us.
Can you talk about your motivation for being so aggressive? Obviously, then this thing is affecting the world, and everybody's trying to figure it out. And as a company, I think it'd almost be easier just to sit back and go, let's let other people figure this out. Why did you say, no, man, we're going to be the first ones out there. We're going to be aggressive.
It's not even like it was. I felt like we had to be the first one back. I just knew we would be the first one back. We were trying to figure out ways to not stop, but the world kept changing every day, and when everything just shut down, we even figured out how to get around that. We could have done California on the the 18th or whatever the date was, but this is really what we do. We've been doing this for a long time. Health and safety is something we worry about every weekend. And we did it in Brazil. We did it in Brazil before it had gotten to this level even. And everybody got through that weekend safe. Mick was down there too. He flew down there and was in Brazil for days, and there were a lot of people down there, and they were all okay. We knew we could figure this out.
Are you able to talk about the financial impact it's had on you? Obviously you're not getting tickets, and we've seen all the efforts. It's got to be costing you tons of money to have extra staff and all these things in place. Are you able to talk about how this is impacting you guys' business financially?
About the what?
How it's financially impacted the business.
Yeah, it's first of all, you got to start with no gate. I was just talking to ESPN. I just did Max and Stephen A. And there was a woman with them on the show that was saying, well, the NFL revenues are only like 15%. The gate is 15% of the NFL. Yeah, the NFL. But each team, the gate's a big deal. It's millions and millions of dollars to each team. Gates are millions and millions of dollars to us. It's a big deal. A lot of these people would probably rather ride it out and figure out how they can make the most money. We're going to just keep putting on fights. We'll take the hit on the gate, and we're going to take the hit on what it costs to ramp it up and be safer to keep this thing rolling. You have to be willing to spend the money. It's expensive. Anything can be done if you want to do it. It just costs a lot of money.
Let's talk about actual fights. We got the main event, obviously, interim title on the line, an exciting fight. Is the winner going to get the unification bout? Tell us what's going on with Khabib, his status, and kind of what you're seeing for the future. Are we definitely getting a unification bout with Khabib for the winner of the main event?
Yeah, the winner of this fight will fight Khabib. I know there was a lot of talk with people, different people saying different things that, Khabib should have stayed here, he should have done this, he should have done that. We all made mistakes leading up to that, including me. I made mistakes too that ended up getting him stuck in Moscow. So he didn't do that on his own. We all had a part in that. And, I even knew more than people knew going into this thing, and I still made mistakes because I didn't, in my lifetime, I never thought I'd see the Las Vegas Strip shut down. I never thought that would happen. I didn't even think that was possible, and it happened. So we
give you any kind of ballpark on when you think he'll be ready? I know this is still the world's still trying to figure things out, but has he told you when he thinks he'd like to fight again?
Well, I'm always like, all right, well, if they shut down the airlines, we'll charter a plane. If they do this, we'll buy this. We'll go over here and do this, So I thought that there was an answer to everything. And it's a long story what happened with Khabib, and I don't want to throw anybody under the bus. It's not necessary, but we made some mistakes. He got stuck somewhere and then got sent to Moscow. Then once he got into Moscow, it was a whole nother level of,
no question.
Of tough.
A couple more. We've got this fight we're looking forward to. We got two more in Jacksonville, but you talked about May 23rd. I think you told Adam that you were trying to do Vegas. Can you give us any update on May 23rd if we have a location and if we have a main event?
Well, the governor, is starting to loosen up in Nevada now, and some things are starting to open up. So, yeah, hopefully we can still keep that date. And, if we can't keep that date, we'll definitely do it in May. It'll be around May 23rd. And I don't have I don't have a main event signed, but I have a main event in mind.
That's the Woodley Burns fight?
Yeah, the Woodley fight.
And then just last thing for me, I want to ask you about Fight Island. What's the latest? Obviously, everybody's intrigued by this. You guys are selling merchandise for Fight Island. What update can you tell us about where does it stand right now? And what news? People are intrigued by it. What news can you give us?
The infrastructure is being built right now, and it should be done by mid-June, hopefully. And then, I don't know if I'll be able to go that weekend or the end of June, but we're looking to pull off an international fight as fast as we can.
And did you buy this island, or did you lease
No,
it?
we didn't buy it. We just cut a deal to use it.
Yeah.
Well, you talked about fans, not having fans, and the impact that has financially. Do you have like a benchmark of when you can do that? Like, what will the science tell you, or what will something tell you that you can have?
Yeah, I don't even know. I just think it's going to depend on how fast testing, the technology gets there. The president was telling me about this thing that you lick, and it tells you whether you have it or you don't. I mean, if we start getting tests like that, yeah, we could probably have fans a lot sooner.
Did you have the swab test here?
Yeah.
What was that?
Oh,
experience?
did you not do it?
Yeah, of course.
Oh, okay, yeah. Oh, did I do it? Yeah. We're doing, all of us, everybody who's here, man. Anybody who's associated with this event is doing it, and the antibody test, and there's going to be multiple tests this week, not just one.
You've heard obviously a lot of criticism of people like that you're trying to do this. You've never cared about that before, but was there anything that stood out to you? Like that was the most ridiculous thing you heard, or that was something that really bothered you that somebody said?
Nothing bothers me. Nothing anybody says bothers me. I literally could give a shit what anybody thinks. Nobody who's associated with this event had to come. Fighters don't have to fight. My employees haven't had to, haven't had to. Everybody that's here wants to be here. But that's, I never doubted that we would pull off an event. My team is, I know my team. I know these fighters. You know what I mean? I know how these guys are, and these people who fight are a different breed of human being. They're not like everybody else. And like I was saying to John, it wasn't a matter of we had to be first. I knew we would. I knew we'd be first. I knew,
Have other organizations reached out to you about what you're doing and what the plans are?
Yeah, they have.
Figure it out.
Yeah, somebody asked me this a few days ago, and at that time nobody had. But yeah, other sports organizations are reaching out and asking for. So are other states. Other states have too.
Is anybody sending like representatives or anything to try to monitor, like watch what you guys are doing and try to figure it out for themselves?
No, nobody's come here to watch. But I told you about the 30-page document that we submitted. People are asking for it, and they want to know what we did, who we used, who we went through, things like that.
What's been the response of the fighters and everybody about how this has all been run?
I was just telling the fighters out in the hallway, we couldn't have had a better team to work with. These fighters that are here now have been so great, and everything that they've had to go through to train to get ready for this fight, and everything that they've had to go through this week, they've been awesome. So they've made it very easy on us to pull this thing off. Nobody's been difficult. Everybody's been great.
Have you guys learned anything that you might take even when things are back to normal? That like you did something and you're like, hey, this actually works even when we're in normal times?
I don't think so. We run a pretty tight ship, man. We've got this thing down to a science. This was just one more thing that we had to figure out. How do you keep these guys, as safe as you possibly can with this crazy shit that's going on? And nothing is 100%, nothing is guaranteed, and we need them to do their part too. They got a list of guidelines that they need to follow while they're here this week too. So if everybody does their part, you eliminate a ton of the risk. You can never eliminate 100% of risk. It's impossible to do in life, period. But we eliminate a lot of it with the steps that we've taken this week, and if they do their part and we do our part, it should go pretty smooth.
Jose, your questions?
Is there any update on Stipe's situation? He said he's struggling because his gym was closed by law. He can't even have a fight camp.
Stipe, is there any status update on Stipe? He said he can't train because his gym is closed.
I think it speaks for itself. It is what it is. You know, most of these states are opening back up. You know, even Nevada, Nevada, California, and New York, as far as I know, have been like the toughest states. You know, and they're starting to loosen up and open up. We should be able to get a fight by August. I mean, this whole crew trained. We got 2 more groups of fighters coming in this week that trained and got ready, and the division has to move on for all the other people. I mean, we want to do that trilogy fight, and then you got the winner of Francis and Rosenstruik waiting in the wings too. You know, people are waiting. It's the right thing to do.
On the actual COVID test, were you stressed sticking that thing up your nose? I was standing in line with Daniel Cormier, and he was like shaking the entire time waiting in line.
What was Cormier
Are you
doing?
stressed to do the nasal swab? He said Daniel Cormier was stressed about doing the test ahead of time.
That's hilarious. One of the toughest dudes in the world of all time. You know, you see that with a lot of these guys. Some of these guys are afraid of needles, and the stuff that these people are afraid of is fucking unbelievable, and the things they're not afraid of is unbelievable.
A lot of conversations have been made about the fact this is the only sport on, but then the other side is people don't have the money to spend on pay-per-view. What's your prediction for how these pay-per-view buys are going to look?
How do you think pay-per-view buys will be for this event?
Oh, it's already trending really well. Yeah. You know, and the funny thing is, like, I mean, any of the guys that have been around the sport for a long time know, you used to ask me a number, I'd fucking tell you exactly what we were going to do, and I'd be damn fucking close to it. I don't know anything anymore, man. I have no idea. You would think that people haven't, listen, I'm dying to watch live sports, man. If the golf game was on, I would watch it. That's how hard up I am for sports right now. So I would have to imagine that a lot of people feel the same way and want to watch something live.
You said that you're happy to give up the gate for a while. Is there any sort of level of fight, like a Conor fight, that you wouldn't put on without a crowd because of the lack of money you miss on the gate?
Was the question, is there any level of fight that I wouldn't give up the gate on?
Yeah.
It's tough to give up a Conor McGregor gate. It's tough to do. I talked to him yesterday, and he wants to fight, and he's excited about tomorrow too. He's like, this is so awesome. Good luck tomorrow. I hope this goes off well. He doesn't like the idea of fighting without a crowd either, but he wants to fight. So I don't know. We'll have to see how this thing plays out.
I mean, is there
You do a Conor McGregor fight in the right place, you can do an $18 million gate. So that's a big number to give up. I mean, even giving up $5 million. I mean, this fight was supposed to be Habib, sold out in minutes, and it was like a $5.5 million gate.
Because I mean, we might not have crowds until like 2021 or something. We don't know when we can get that back. Is there a date where you say that we need to keep them active anyway? We're going to just have to give up the gate for a Conor fight?
I don't know. I don't know the answer to that yet. It's going to depend on how long this thing goes. I don't know. To tell you that, I don't know if anybody understands this whole thing, and, depending on what network you listen to, they tell you different things, and Jesus Christ, you go on the internet, forget about it. I mean, it's fucking crazy, right? I don't know. I don't know how long this thing's going to last, or, who knows. We're gonna put on fights, man. That's what we do, and it's what we're gonna keep doing, and hopefully I don't have to do this for 2 years with no gates.
Yesterday, Conor went at Dustin Poirier and Oscar De La Hoya. Interested in either one of those fights?
Connor went after Dustin Poirier and Oscar De La Hoya yesterday. I would be interested in either of those fights.
Is fucking Oscar De La Hoya beautiful or what? And did he ask for a 2-round fight?
He said he knocked him out in 2 rounds.
Anyway.
Anything else on
Was
that?
there?
To feed off his question there, so are you holding off on Conor McGregor until you can do?
I don't know. We're going to see how this thing goes this weekend and next week. And, what date we go in Vegas, get back into the Apex. I just feel like, too, I have to thank the governor of Florida and the mayor in Jacksonville and the commission for working with us. It just, when you have the government working with you, it makes everything so much safer and easier to do. And you have to think that in Las Vegas, we spent $100 million on that facility next door so we could use it. It would be safer for my employees, it would be safer for the media, it would be safer for the fighters, safe for everybody. So I want to get back there and start figuring out what we're going to do and what the rest of our schedule looks like, and probably run as many fights out of there as I can. I mean, if you think about why the Apex was built, that was always the plan anyway. We were talking about doing so many fights that we would just be putting on fights without gates anyway. You would do big fights and put on gates, but, and here we are, so.
You must be getting some sort of feedback from the powers that be in Nevada for you to mention the Apex at this point. What kind of feedback have you been getting?
Yeah, I'm confident that we're going to be in there soon. Hopefully the 23rd, putting on fights.
Were you surprised at the amount of pushback and criticism that you got for just trying to run your business?
Yeah. Yeah, but the thing is, when you think about Las Vegas, right? If there's no casinos in Las Vegas, that place is a desert. Doesn't exist. So if they're willing to shut down the casinos for 2 months plus, good luck to me.
There was an association of doctors that came out around the time when you were trying to do April 18th, criticizing that if you do this show, it can put a stress on the California medical infrastructure. Did any doctors reach out to even see what precautions you guys were taking?
No, when you're talking about the woman who wrote the letter, the open letter, it was already determined that the fight wasn't going to happen by then anyway. I mean, that really didn't have anything. I mean, they definitely had some impact on it because they were reaching out, to ESPN, who eventually came to me and said, "Let's do this another weekend."
So how do you feel now that even though you're shut down in April, how much of a success is this that you're still putting on UFC 249?
Hey, I was happy. I literally told Hunter over here, get us in a state where we can't get stopped by the government. I mean state government, and he did it. He did it. We got there. We absolutely positively could have ran that event that weekend, and that was good enough for me. We did it, and here we are today. And if we could have continued to run our fights, especially if we could have used the Apex, and we would have figured out to make sure it was safe. And I mean, this is what we do. Every weekend we run into problems, and whatever they may be, how big, how small, and we solve them. That's what we've been doing for 20 years, and it's what we'll continue to do for the next 20. So it was actually kind of fun, to be honest with you.
Did you guys reach out to Florida, or did Florida reach out to you?
Did what?
Did you reach out to Florida, or did they reach out to you?
Yeah, so, well, there's, off the top of your head, how many places do you think we can go in the United States right now and hold a fight?
10-1.
Yeah. We can go to 10 different places right now in the United States and hold a fight. Florida was awesome. These guys were incredible. So we came here first. And, we're laid out. We can go. We got international figured out in June, and we have the United States figured out right now. If this lockdown kept going for another 5 months, we can go. We're ready to roll.
How tough logistically was it to put together a hotel that was willing to do what this place was willing to do? It all worked out good. Yeah. I can't explain to you enough. This is what we do, and we'll figure it out. You just have to be willing to spend money. It's going to cost you a lot of money. It's not cheap. You have to be willing to, you have to be committed to making it happen. Was there a thought to running the pay-per-view earlier Saturday than normal, just because there's no other competition on television or anything like that?
I think that's people are conditioned what time fights come on, and you know what I mean? And that time and that day, Saturday, works for us.
Alan or Dave, do you have any questions? No, I think that's it.
Where did the idea of Fight Island come from? How did that?
So, you know, as we sat down, as this thing started to, I mean, every day we would go into the office and we would figure stuff out that whole day. We would go to bed that night and wake up the next morning and everything would change, literally, right? For how many?
Every day.
Every,
3 weeks.
every day for 3 weeks, this would happen to us, right? And literally, he and I would get on the phone that night from our houses and go, this is fucking insane. It just happened again. Now what? So as we started looking at what the major problems were going to be if this continued to happen, and how long was this going to go on for? And when it was over, the one thing that you know that's not going to snap right back is, oh, let's start people flying in from all over the world again, right? So we knew that was going to be our biggest problem. And if we don't have international fights, we'll smoke the U.S. talent in 2 months, and then we got nothing. So we needed to figure out, how do we put on international fights? Where could you fly people in and out of without a problem? An island, that's how. So we got it figured out. We went in, we cut the deal, and the infrastructure is being built. And I'm going to imagine that we're going to be doing fights out of Fight Island for a minute.
And you mentioned like June is the target date?
It's what?
June is the target date for Fight Island.
Yeah, June. Yeah. Hopefully mid-June, but probably, you know, I like to push, so I'm pushing for mid-June, but more realistically, the end of June is probably when it'll be.
How much does it cost to rent an island?
You got to be willing to spend money to put fights on at a time like this. So it's not cheap. None of this stuff is cheap, you know, but we're going to keep going. You know, listen, I got over 350 employees with families, the fighters, you know, and it's almost like this thing, like I said, this thing with the media that was going on. What is wrong with continuing to do what you do if you can do it safely? And I just never understood, why don't we figure out solutions to these problems? And guys, I got a really nice house. Fucking great house. I've had, you know, the time that I've spent in my house, I've had a blast. My kids are home. You know, it's been a great couple of months, to be honest with you. And I could just stay home and do this too. But why? Why do we have to do that if we can honestly figure out how to do this safely? Why? And I'll tell you, it's just, you know, if you come out and you say you want to figure it out and you want to do it, it's like some of these guys out there almost, you know, it's like you were saying, you know, the shit that was being said about me. It's almost like, you know, they try to terrorize you and shame you into, and there would be media members that if I came out and gave any information, they would just start hammering the athletic commission or the hotel or the venue that we were going to with all this, you know. It was a pretty crazy time, and it really made me dislike the media big time.
Do you feel like a cancel culture moved from the regular culture over to fixate on the pandemic?
Did I feel like what?
Cancel culture. If people don't like what you're doing, they try to just shut you down.
Yeah, do you think it was just everybody trying to shut you down?
Oh, yeah, 100%. 100%. Literally, you know, media calling, hammering these guys. How can you let this event happen? Media who fucking cover this sport. Cover the sport. And I'm like, wait till they start getting laid off. Right? If I can pull this off safely and everybody can still work, you guys can still have a sport to cover and you know. Because let me tell you what, when these media companies, right, you got the guys who cover the NFL, you got the guys that cover Major League Baseball, you got the guys that cover the NBA, and you got the guys that cover MMA. Who do you think's going first? I promise you it's not the fucking NFL guys, okay? I'm trying to get this thing fucking going and put on fights, and the guys who are supposed to be covering this sport are calling and hammering these guys, the athletic commissions and the venues and I can't wrap my brain around that one.
I think that's it. That's it.
Good?
Thank you, Dana.
Thanks, Dana.
Thank you guys. Thanks for coming.